Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at some of the enemies that I've been working on, and I'll kind of showcase how that works a little bit. I'll also show you some updates to my little flooded village that I've been working on. And yeah, let's take a look. All right, so I have previously shown my flaming skeleton enemy that I have now started calling the Erupter because I don't know that I've shown this in a video yet, but I've added an ability for this guy to essentially erupt into a bunch of flaming fireballs. So we'll take a look at that. Alright, so the way I have his AI set up right now, when he first detects the player, he'll use his little eruption ability, and then that goes on a cooldown for 10 seconds. And while that's cooling down, his AI switches to chasing towards the player, and then once he's within melee attack range, he'll start the attack. For right now, I think what's happening is it's the AI behavior tree is waiting for him to do those two things before he uses his ability again, or at least complete one of the tasks, because I think once he gets to me, he'll actually use his ability again. Yeah, there you go. So now that that's on cooldown and he's close enough to attack, he's going to start hitting me here. Alright, so obviously he's not behaving exactly the way I want him to. He'll use his eruption ability, and then he switches to chase and attack. And as soon as he completes at least one of those things, then it will go back to use the ability and kind of repeat the whole thing. What I'd like for him to do is, if he's still chasing me, but he hasn't caught me yet, but his ability's off of cooldown, he should go back and use his ability again before he continues chasing. So I got to figure out what's going on there. Here's a little look at the tree. So I think I've shown this a little bit before. I've changed it a little bit, but essentially, he starts running his AI, and then he goes to a selector and he says, okay, I'm going to do this or this. He prioritizes things on the left. So the first thing he's going to do is essentially get the distance to the target if he's spotted me, and then he'll start doing other things. If he hasn't spotted me, he'll default to this over here, which is basically just patrol to a random spot within a certain radius, and then wait a few seconds and start the whole thing over again. So again, if he still hasn't seen me, he'll just patrol, and he'll just keep you doing a little loop like that. As soon as he sees me, what he's supposed to do here is use his ability. That goes on cooldown. Right now I have it for 10 seconds. And then once that's done, he goes over here and he says, all right, I'm going to do these two things in parallel. I'm going to chase the target, and if I'm close enough to them, I'm going to hit them. So what I would like to do is, if he's still chasing me, but this is off cooldown, I want him to go back over here and do this again. So I don't know if I can stack simple parallel nodes here. So maybe I do a simple parallel between these two things. I don't know. I'll have to play with that. But I will see if I can actually kind of show you this thing in action. So right now, you can see the selector at the top there is defaulting towards his patrol. And hopefully this is showing me the one nearest to me. There's actually two of these guys in here. Okay, it's showing me the AI process for the other one. So let me get close to that guy. Alright, so he's spotted me, he's used his ability, and now he's chasing me. So when I get close enough, he'll start attacking. Oh, yeah. So you can kind of see he'll keep doing that until the ability comes off cooldown. So another second. And see, now he should be using his ability even though he's not close to me, but it's waiting for this chase task to finish first. So I gotta figure that out. So essentially, for the AI, it's pretty complex, and it's been the thing I've struggled with the most so far, trying to get these things to act the way that I want them to. Sometimes I think I'll have it set up correctly, and it does something weird, but essentially there are four or five different components that go into this for each of the enemies. Some of them are shared. First, we have this blackboard component, which essentially is storage for variables. So right now I have self actor, target actor. So basically assigning the AI, who they are, who's the target they're after. And then I have some booleans in here to tell me if they're in range or not. So the blackboard stores those things, and then in the behavior tree, we bring in those blackboard based conditions. So he only starts this task, which is the get distance to target task, if the target actor is set. So if he's detected me and we set, okay, this is my target, then it will run this task. So the task itself has its own code. So here's the get distance to target task that runs. So, we're assigning, the thing that we just detected is our target. What's the distance to it? Assign, whether we're in melee range or not. So there are all of these tasks. So one for attacking, one for chasing, one for patrolling, one for using their ability. And then we have services. So the get distance to the target is a service. And then there's the actual AI controller for each of the enemies that tells it, which behavior tree it's going to run. And then we have a blueprint interface, which is assigning what functions the enemy can use. It's confusing. So I'll stop showing you the boring behind the scenes stuff, and I'll show you another enemy that I have created since the last time. And I think it's pretty cool. I've been really struggling trying to get it to animate the way I want, but we'll take a look at it here. Again, I have dropped some items in the area just so I have something to pick up. Alright, so I know it's very dark right now. I have made some additions and edits to my little flooded village here. I've added in some glowing flowers to try to illuminate the area just a little bit, so it's not complete darkness. So I was kind of going the Dark Souls Dark Root Garden sort of method of providing some light to the area that's just a natural light source. So that is a blueprint that I created of a little plant with a couple of lights on it, including like a little water caustics thing, so you get some like ripply reflections on the wall. But you'll notice my enemy here. So you can see he's animating a little weird. But the idea for this guy is he crawls around under the water until he gets close enough to you. And then he comes out swinging. And then if you get far away again, he'll dive back under the water. He's, you can see like at a certain distance, he's kind of popping out just a little bit. That's the animation stuff I've been struggling with. So he gets close enough, he stands up, and then now he's after me. And this guy's a lot more aggressive and a lot faster. And he does kill me a lot of the times when I'm playtesting this. Alright, so we'll take a look. There's a lot going on with this guy. So for the animation, I'm using a blend space to try to control the blending between all the different animations. So here's what that looks like. So essentially, I have this grid down at the bottom where the y-axis is how far away he is from the player, and the x-axis is how fast he's moving. So you can see at a speed of 0 where he's not moving. When he's far away, he's laying down, and then when we get about 500 centimeters away, he starts his stand-up animation, and then once he's about 400 centimeters away, he is fully standing. So you can see like how it tries to blend between this laying down and this standing animation as we're kind of getting close here. So I think what I need to do is add another state of the laying down animation so that he stays laying down until he gets to about 600 centimeters, and then it starts blending between the standing. And then, you know, as we go faster, eventually he's running here at max speed. But depending on, you know, how close he is and how fast he's going, it's blending between all these different animations. So you can see, like, you know, it looks pretty good, I think, you know, in here. But there's some edge cases out here where it's like, okay, if he's, you know, going, his speed is 50 and his distance is 700, he's still a little bit like popping out of the water there. So I gotta figure out how to, like, I guess I could add another crawl. If I add another crawl right there-ish. Something else you can hear, hopefully, is I've added sound effects to these animations. So since this guy's going to be in the water, I actually added the water footstep sounds. And for the attack animations, I also added in like the whooshing sound of his hands coming at you, and the sounds of him leaping out of the water and landing back in the water. Save that. And I also managed to get him to interact with the water, so he kind of causes ripples and things in the water. Right now he's kind of on top of the rubble in the house there, so which is why he's kind of out of the water at the moment. Yeah, he's still popping up a little bit around there. Gonna have to figure that out. Yeah, you can see he's causing ripples in the water. You should be able to hear the sounds of him splashing and stuff. And I added the water effect to his skin too, so he's wet and dripping. So the idea for this area is, you kind of come into the area, it's quiet, it's dark, you're looking around these ruins, looting some things, and you might not notice these guys at first because they're kind of hiding under the water. I did give them little glowing eyes to give you like a little bit of a hint if they're there. But I have definitely been running through here just kind of like play testing, seeing what it feels like, and been scared by one of these things by turning around and it's like jumping out of the water at me. So kind of, working as intended in that regard, but definitely needs some work. All right. One last one we'll take a look at. I started just kind of a basic enemy over here. So he's in the little gatehouse here. You can hear him moving around. So again, I kind of added the sounds, the footstep sounds to the animation. I want to update those, make them sound a little more menacing, a little heavier. Kind of the idea here is, as you're walking up in here, I want the sounds of him to be freaking you out before you ever see him. And the audio from him, the growls, are actually some voice lines from a friend, Alex, that submitted some. I kind of went into the Polykill Discord and said, hey, anybody interested in trying to do some voices? And I had several people kind of chime in and say, hey, I'd be interested. And Alex sent me some stuff almost immediately. They were pretty awesome right off the bat. I did pitch this one down a little bit to give it a little bit more menacing sound. But that's something that I'm still playing around with. I assigned these same sounds to the Erupter skeleton. I forgot to mention that when we were looking at them, but I might actually switch some of the sounds around between enemies as I kind of decide, which ones I think sound better with the different designs. But we'll go look at this guy. So this guy right now, he's running the same behavior tree as what I was calling the waterlogged enemy, except he's using different animations, of course. So I've made him slower, so he's not quite as much of a threat. I'm thinking, we need some kind of easy enemies here at the beginning that don't do much beyond just trying to attack you before we start getting to the harder stuff. But right now, that's just a first pass at this guy, just getting him functional. Definitely need to go through and modify and tune things and make him a little bit more unique. But I guess that's all I really wanted to show for today. Hopefully next time I'll have some more updates on these guys, get them looking and running a little bit better and performing the way I want them to. For these guys, I was kind of just like playing around to see what I could do. When I was kind of working on the flooded village, I knew I wanted to have an enemy that was kind of unique to that area. So I kind of had an idea of, what I wanted them to do. But I think what I'm going to do is sit down and just think about all the different enemy types that I would like to include and kind of where in the map they should show up. So I'm thinking I'm going to sketch that out a little bit, like in a spreadsheet or something, before I start trying to make more enemies, just so I can kind of get an idea of, what enemies are going to be unique, which enemies are going to be common, where are they going to show up, what sorts of abilities should they have, how should they animate, because definitely I've downloaded a bunch of different animations that I think are pretty good, but deciding, how they're actually going to animate, whether they're going to run or limp or attack you with a weapon or attack you with their hands. I want to get an idea of that before I start actually making more of these things, so I have a clear idea of what I need for each one. And because up until this point, I've just been kind of going, oh, this animation looks pretty cool, let's try that. Oh, that looks kind of cool, let's try that. But there hasn't been a cohesive thought behind it, other than for the waterlogged enemy, I knew I wanted him to crawl, and I knew I wanted him to jump out at you when he gets close enough. But hopefully I'll have some of that figured out for next time. So thanks for hanging out. See you then.